Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I thought I would give you guys some book recommendations if you are in a reading slump or if you're feeling a reading slump coming along. We have all been there and it does suck. So I thought I would give some recommendations to that. Most of them are quite easy and fun, but I did want to have like different genres on here as well. Personally, when I'm in a reading slump, I always just read romance or contemporary. I cannot get into a fantasy or thriller, but we're all different, so I wanted to kind of have a lot of different genres. I don't have any fantasy because I don't know, if you want a video like that, like please let me know, but I just think that if you're in a reading slump, you want something easy, not a new, totally new, different world building and stuff. So I have like easy ones that I think are really good if you are in a reading slump or feeling one coming along. So I'm very excited to share these with you guys and I hope you guys enjoy this video. The first kind of tip I want to say though, which also is going to be a book recommendation, but the first tip I would say, which also I always do if I'm in a reading slump, if I feel like it, I reread like a favorite book, or I reread one of my favorite series from my childhood or my teenage years, something that just makes you feel like you're falling back in love with reading. And for me, obviously this is going to be different for everyone, but for me that would be an example would be the Vampire Academy series by Rachel Mead. So I have the English cover here for the first book and then the Swedish cover here for the first book, but I think I'm gonna show this one because I don't think many Swedish people are following me. So yeah, for me that would be the Vampire Academy series, or maybe Twilight or Beautiful Dead, just something that reminds you like of how much you love reading. And this is one of the series that got me into reading, so whenever I read it I kind of fall back in love with it. And I think we all have one of those books or one of those series, and that's my like number one recommendations, to go back and reread. I know like you have your TBR and you have your goal, but honestly it's not worth it if you're not going to enjoy what you're reading. So if I'm ever feeling a reading slump coming along, I usually go back to one of my favorite books or favorite series from my childhood or teenage years and read, and I instantly fall back in love with reading and I get so many good memories back, and it's just amazing, and definitely a tip that I recommend you that you do because it's just amazing. So obviously this might not work for you, but it is quite an easy YA fantasy series about vampires and school, and just it's amazing series. But I think I do enjoy it so much because it's so nostalgic for me, and this is one of the series that got me into reading. So this is not a book recommendations, it's just kind of like I'm saying that you could go back to one of your old favorites. So yeah. The first recommendations I'm gonna give you is this book. It is Get a Life Color Brown by Talia Hibbert. This I actually read it really recently and I fell in love with it. I wasn't in a reading slump, but I was definitely in a reading funk, and I had been for a while when I picked this one up, and this just made me have fun again with reading, and it made me fall in love with reading again. I loved it so much more than I thought I did. Like I went in with not too high expectations, even though it's very hyped up. I just didn't think it was gonna be like a new favorite, but it really was a new favorite book of mine. Like it was so good, so easy and so fast-paced. We follow Chloe Brown, who is having this illness and she wants to do the best with her life. You know, she wants to do all of these things in her life, so she has this list that she calls Get a Life list, and on this list is things like have a drunken night out, have a meaningless but enjoyable sex, ride a motorcycle, go camping, just things like that. And you get to follow her as she does these things and people she meet on the way. And I just love Chloe. I feel like you really got to know her, and I feel like you can really relate to her in a lot of ways. She was just really fun, realistic, really mundane character, and I just loved it. It was fun, it was fast-paced. I really flew through this. It's not a big one, but like it went by so fast. And there's 2 more books in this series where we follow her sisters, I believe, and I can't wait to get my hands on them. I want to read them now. Like that's how excited I am. I loved it so much. The next book I'm going to show you is actually a thriller, which as I've said, I'm not personally into that if I'm in a reading slump. If I'm in a reading slump, I always go back to contemporary romance or fun books like that. I never want to read fantasy or sci-fi or thrillers, but we're all different, so I wanted to include a thriller in here, and this one is really good and easy, and it's just one of my favorites, and that is The Institute by Stephen King. You all know I love this if you watched my reading blog on it and my review on it. This was my first ever Stephen King book and I fell in love with it so much. I know Stephen King can be kind of intimidating, and you know, a lot of big words, but this one was really easy, perfect for a startup if you're starting for Stephen King, and or if you want an easy thriller. It was amazing, very easy. I got through it really quickly. We follow this boy who is 12 years old, I believe, and he's kind of a genius. He's really smart, really good in school, just like crushed his SATs. And then one night he gets abducted and he wakes up in a bedroom that looks like his bedroom, except there's no windows. So he's been abducted by this thing called the Institute, which basically is a facility that's all over the world that does experiments on kids, like brain experiments and just really weird and creepy shit, like really weird and messed up creepy stuff. And you get to follow Luke, this 12-year-old boy, as he's there and trying to escape and trying to figure out, why is the government doing this and why are we being tested on like test subjects? And you get to follow him and his friends that he meets there, and it's just really good. You also have another perspective where you follow this cop in a small town in Maine and how their paths kind of intersect in the end. And I thought it was amazing. It also deals with like these kids that are in this facility in the Institute. They're all been abducted, and each and every one of these kids have superpowers, like through either they have abilities like telekinesis and telepathy, which is so cool and something that I've never seen in books actually. I just thought it was amazing. I get chills when I'm thinking about it, and I can't wait to read this again because I've already read it once, but I loved it so much. This is a book that I want to collect multiple editions of. I have this paperback obviously, but I have 2 hardbacks, different ones that I really want to get my hands on because I loved it so much. I just want to collect all the editions there are. So definitely your recommendations if you are a fan of thriller books. The next book I'm going to recommend is kind of a mystery, YA mystery book, and that is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. So this is a series. It has 4 books so far, and I've read them all, really enjoyed them all. This is the first one, and it's the perfect, easy YA mystery that's very fast-paced, easy to read, easy to follow, not anything too crazy happening, just kind of you go along with it, and it's just really good. We have Stevie, who is really good at solving crimes. She's really interested in crimes, and she's really good at it too. So she gets to go to this boarding school and Ellingham Academy, who is kind of a school for geniuses or people that are really talented and really believe in something. And at this academy, there has been a murder mystery, kidnapping, way back in the days that were never solved. And then Stevie comes along and she's trying to solve what actually happened, and along the way, more things starts to happen, like in the present day. And she, with her new friends over there, is just trying to figure out what the hell is going on and why are people doing this and who are doing this. So we have like 2 timelines. So one in the past where this original kidnapping murder mystery happened, and then one in the present where Stevie is trying to figure out what the heck is going on and what is still going on. So yeah, I thought it was a perfect murder mystery YA. You were on your seat, you were on the edge. It was just really good and perfect, light, very light mystery, I would say, but just perfect if you're kind of feeling a really slump coming along. Just pick this one up. The next book I'm going to recommend is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This is also a thriller, and an easy thriller. And when I say an easy thriller, an easy like murder mystery, I mean it's not too complicated, because when you're in a reading slump, I feel like you don't want complicated things. You don't want it to be too hard to follow, and all of these are just very easy to follow in my opinion. I hope you understand what I mean. Very easy, fast-paced, perfect thriller book in my opinion. So we follow Jules, I believe her name is, who is kind of struggling. She just lost her job. She broke up with her boyfriend. She doesn't really have any place to live, doesn't have any job, and then she sees this ad in a magazine that she can become an apartment sitter, or she can apply to become an apartment sitter in this really famous apartment building in New York City. And it kind of feels too good to be true, because you get paid like really good money to live in this really fancy apartment building and to look after it. And she gets there, goes to this interview, and this girl who is interviewing her asks her a lot of questions, like, do you have friends or family close by? Do you have a partner? Do you have like stuff like that? That's just really a red flag. And also there are all these rules that you can't have people over, you can never spend the night away from the apartment, just all of these rules, and just really strict rules that she has to follow. She gets the job kind of immediately, not really having to do anything except talk to this person. And she moves in, she's really happy about it, but it's like too good to be true. weird things starts to happen in this apartment building. There are more apartment stairs there where Jules befriends them, and they one by one kind of go missing, and no one seems to have seen them. No one knows where they went, and everyone each one of these apartment stairs don't really have family or friends close by, which is really weird. And you get to follow Jules as she is trying to figure out what's going on, and it's just really good. This was probably my first thriller that I ever read, and it was just a perfect amount of everything. It was really creepy, really good, but also so easy, not too complicated, just really the perfect amount of everything in my opinion. So yeah, just a really good thriller story about this what seems to be a really fancy apartment building turns out to be something horrible, and just really good. Definitely recommend it if you're looking for a thriller. The last two books I'm gonna recommend is, I have like two options. So I have kind of romance thing, but we have one for like young adults, and then we have a little bit more new adults. So I'm gonna start with the young adults one, and that is Until Friday Night by Abby Glines. This is the first book in a series. I think there are 5 books, maybe more, but I have 5 books. I think there might be one more out that I haven't gotten, but I read these ones a while back. Like, this was my first ever book like this. I hadn't read anything like it, and I really fell in love with it because of that. And now I'm a little bit older and I've read a lot more stuff like this, and I can really say that it is for a younger audience. I don't think I will ever be rereading these, just because now I have so much more to compare with and more mature content to like compare with, and these are definitely for a little bit of a younger audience, I would say. But in this series we have like, we follow different type of people, but they're in the same friend group, just we have like different main characters. So in each and every one of these books we have a main girl and a main guy, but they're all like in the same high school, each and every one of these books, and you follow their gang, and you have that typical American high school football under the Friday night lights kind of vibe, which is really cute and really amazing, like, you know, living the American dream. It's really beautiful like that, and really sweet and cute, I would say. So in each and every one of these books we have this main guy that is a typical football player, really cocky, mean, just believes he's better than anyone else, and then this one girl come along that is the opposite, and she kind of proves him wrong. You know, it's one of those very typicals, or each and every one of these books are the exact same thing, just with different people, different main characters, that this one guy and one girl meet, and they kind of start to have feelings for each other very unexpectedly. And this is one of those really typical ones, but it's really easy, really just flying through it. It is cute, it's romantic, I would say, but definitely not any mature content. It's just like very sweet and very like for a younger audience, I would say. So I definitely recommend this series. I really got it through really quickly. It was really fun, easy, so definitely recommend it if you are looking for a romance kind of thing, high school romance. And then the last book I have is like the exact same thing, but for a older audience. So I think this is new adult, and that is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This is the first one, but I'm kind of talking about all of these books in this series. I have read 3 of them. I think there was 2 more, but this is the first one. And we have the exact same thing in these ones as I said in the other ones, but it has more mature content. They are older, they're in university, and we don't have football here, we have hockey. So like, it's exactly the same thing as Until Friday Night, but it's more mature content. They're older, they are wiser, it has more spicy scenes, and it has a different sport. Other than that, it's just really similar. But I feel like these are the perfect ones if you're in a reading slump, because it might not be the greatest book, it might not be the greatest story, but it's a really fun and easy and just like relatable if you're really feeling like you want that. And I would definitely recommend this if you are looking for that, because I can never recommend it enough, honestly, because it's so easy and so fun and so relatable. It's just really real and mundane, I would say. So I definitely recommend this, yeah. But yeah, that was it for the recommendations I had. If you're in a reading slump, these are some perfect books for you to pick up. So yeah, please let me know if you read any of these, or if you're wanting to, just give me your thoughts. Please let me know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in one of my next videos. Bye.